Good evening, welcome to DecodedSeries.com. This is our special series called Decoded Biblical Series, and this is part 2. Science has studied our existence for a long time, and by their calculations the universe commenced around 13.6 billion years ago. Life on Earth started around 3,500 million years ago. A mythological script written around 2,500 years ago by unknown authors, obviously lacking appropriate equipment and knowledge, cannot and does not validate its claim of Earth's real existence. I gave myself a task and wrote out numerically how long it took from creation to 1900 BCE. According to the Bible, Adam and Eve are supposed to be the first named generation. I have followed the years as described in Genesis and have compared them to evolutionary evidence. Let me show you from my notes. Now, I have difficulty pronouncing many of these names, so please bear with me. I might have to ask Scott to pronounce a few of them if I seem to stumble on them. So starting with Adam at the age of 130 years had Seth. Seth at the age of 105 years had Enosh. Enosh at the age of 90 years had Kenan. Kenan at the age of 70 years had Mahalalel. Mahalalel at the age of 65 years had Jared. We are stumbling with these names. Yep. Jared at the age of 162 had Enoch. Enoch at the age of 65 had Methuselah. Methuselah at the age of 187 had Lamech. Lamech at the age of 182 had Noah. Noah at the age of 500 had Shem. Shem at the age of 100 had Apishad at the age of 35 had Shelah. Shelah at the age of 30 had Eber. Eber at the age of 34 had Peleg. Peleg at the age of 30 had Rev. Rev at the age of 32 had Serug. Serug at the age of 30 had Nahor. Nahor at the age of 29 had Terah. Terah at the age of 70 had Abram, later known as Abraham. Abraham at the age of 86 had Ishmael, and 14 years later Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born. Isaac was 60 years old when the twins Esau and Jacob were born. Abraham was 175 when he died. Now, the author wanted to just show you here that the author has actually gone through and make note of the ages right down to Abraham, as opposed to copying this work from anywhere else. This has come directly from the Bible. Now, the author continues, I have used the birth of each generation to count the years to Abraham, Ishmael, and Isaac, giving us the time frame of this period. Abraham, Ishmael, and Isaac represent the ancestry of Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. As you add the years from the time of the creation of Adam to the birth of Isaac, it totals 2,046 years. Now add 1,900 years, according to some biblical chronology, as the time of Abraham, for an approximate estimation totaling 3,946, bringing this period to around the birth of Jesus, or 1 BCE. The total, once added to the period from Jesus to the year 2012 CE, the end of the Maya long calendar, is 5,958 years. The universe and Adam were created according to the Bible 5,958 years ago to 2012 CE. Now, we do understand that the Jewish calendar is slightly different, and that will be covered later in this particular manuscript. But this has been the work of the author, taken from the direct Bible reference. This approximate figure does not come remotely close to evidence of life existing for at least 3,500 million years, and the universe for 13.6 billion years. Additionally, there is no evidence of any human remains existing for a lifespan of up to 500 years, as in some biblical characters. Noah lived to 950 years. This ridiculous detail in the Bible contributes toward warning us against God's claim. My question is, why was the chronological and numerical order of descendants detailed in the Bible? This would only cause a method to form a calculation of God's existence, which clashes with modern archaeological proof. The Bible is showing us deliberate evidence proving it is impossible God created the universe and mankind. This validates the Bible is warning us of foul play. Why do many religious followers prefer not to challenge the biblical details? We need to understand the Bible has purposely dated its generations. The obvious, in my eyes, is because the Bible is telling us God is a fraud. Hence, the Bible is warning us against not promoting God. Our history shows us there are many discrepancies with religion, but most important is God and or religion is an outside influence to humankind. God and religion are not a part of our origin. It was not in existence when humanity first evolved. I am not referring to any connection with apes. The timing can't be denied. It does not match the history of humankind. Therefore, since God has appeared millions of years after humanity's true existence, where did God come from? The alien appearance in the book of Genesis describes God as one of them. The word alien can be considered on many levels. This could be a being from outer space, a different dimension, or purely a conceptual idea from within the bullies of a developing society on Earth. There are numerous references to external interferences because the beginning of God's creation and his chosen people clearly is separate from the first known existence of humans and our planet. God is definitely an addition and or infiltration upon our Earth. The Bible today has come down from scrolls. Supposedly, the Bible has been carefully checked for accuracy in translation and numbers. It's an interesting point, isn't it, really?
It is.
When you consider it. Because as a humanity, we know that science can prove how old our planet is and how old the universe is.
Sure.
The religious community are depending upon a book that was put together back in the 7th century of BCE, before the Common Era.
Mm-hmm.
There is a huge conflict here. There is a huge difference in information. And it's all very well to make excuses for the Bible, but God is actually very specific when he made this planet and when he made the universe and when he created people. So keeping that in mind, if he's adamant that Adam was his first creation and we can only purposely date it back to around 6,000 years ago, then God really has admitted he is an addition, an extra addition to humanity, or an infiltration, or he is something that has come into our world and then made attempts to try and change it and claim this earth as his own.
Sure. It could be a more primitive society's recollection of an encounter with a more advanced society. Abram was supposed to have come from Sumer, from Ur, and 6,000 years is about the right time for...
The Sumerians, you mean? Yes.
Yes.
And there is actually information, I believe, further on in this with regards to the Sumerian race of people, because there is a connection between the Sumerians and the biblical characters in here. But still, mathematically speaking, this race of people do not date back to archaeological evidence.
No.
Right? I mean, the Bible is not really evidence as such. The Bible is a journal.
Sure.
The Bible is a book that was written. It's not actual evidence.
No, it was written thousands of years after the events are described, so it's...
Correct. And that doesn't make it authentic.
No,
I mean, it's authentic insofar as that it's talking about what happened in that particular time.
Sure.
But it doesn't make it that, this particular God actually created everything as he boasts he has. Which really brings about the point that the Bible is really exposing to us that God is a fraud. in his claim. His claim is fraudulent.
Sure.
I think that's
You
quite...
think that's deliberate?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But definitely the mere fact that it's been calculated and the numbers are there in the Bible, it really is showing us quite blankly that God's claim is fraudulent.
Sure. Sure. Well.
I think so anyway. That was the end of this part of the biblical series, and please join us next for part 3. Thank you.